Hello, today we are going to be painting this picture here. I found this picture on Pexels.com where you can get free photos. You can also get paid ones as well. But I wanted to study like color blocking and really focusing on colors and just where the colors are, and I wanted to take you along with me. So we're going to paint this photo minus the little dude, unless you want to put the little guy in there yourself. And so I have my mixed media paper, 9.5 by 12. You can choose whatever paper you like best. I have some color pencils. I'm just going to need one color to kind of do this little shape here of where the sand meets the horizon. I went ahead and took 4 brushes for me. I have some little round ones here, a flat one, and then this is my new brush. If you watched my other video about art and hiking, I showed this and I wanted to try this out. So there's that, and I'll probably use that one for these little details in the sand, if you can see that. I grabbed some various different paints that I have, some Naples yellow, Holbein and Liquitex, as well as Goldens, yellow medium, some Payne's gray, really just a bunch of different colors so that I can mix them up and see. So what I would recommend for you, work with what you have on hand. This will be a good color mixing experience for you and me as well. So we're going to get loose, we're going to play with it. This is just for fun. I would say I don't have it, but I would say like the sand here, probably more of a raw sienna instead of burnt sienna. But I'm hoping that like mixing that with my portrait pink, that we might get somewhere. I did also throw in this because it's a yellow ochre. It's the only yellow ochre that I have. It is by Golden. It is open, so these are the slow drying ones. So if I use this, I'm going to have to be just a tad bit careful. And my worn out titanium white. So the predominant colors that you kind of see in here, we do have a little bit of blue, a little bit of purple, some pinks and orangey colors, yellow, whites, and then this sandy kind of tan color that, like I said, I'm probably going to use my portrait pink and stuff to mix. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, and to get started, I have some Scotch Painter's tape. This is the one for delicate surfaces, and so I'm going to go ahead and use it. Alright, here we go. We got our paper taped down. Now, if you didn't have acid-free paper, you would want to gesso the paper first, but since it is acid-free and we're using acrylics, you don't really have to worry about gessoing it. So let's roll up our sleeves and let's get started. So I'm going to choose, this pretty orange color. Actually, this one's calling to me. Dark terracotta. And I'm just gonna work in this shape here. So of the sand dunes, or the sand here. And I'm just gonna lightly sketch it in. Once again, we're not going for perfect. We're not trying to duplicate this. We're going for more of like abstract impressionism style. There is a little mountain back here, or mountain out of a molehill, I don't know. And so we're going to go with that a little bit. I do see a little bit here of some things kind of going on, so I just want to include that. And I do see kind of a replica of that along here. Alright, and then I kind of want to work in a little bit of these shapes of the clouds. We have something coming in here. This one kind of going off. Like I said, we're not really trying to duplicate it exactly. And I figured the sky would be really fun to work with. But we're going to try to think of it not as the sky, not as these are clouds, but these are shapes of color. And so try to work in those shapes of color. There's a little spot here. There's also a spot about right here. So what I'm doing right here is I'm going for the things that the sky part, where the clouds aren't covering up. Those are the shapes that my eye is being drawn to. So those are the ones that I figured I would kind of block in a little bit. And then we have this coming in here, comes down kind of like a little stair. And this kind of comes around. We're going to connect that there. And this is all kind of light, so I'm going to go up to the thicker outlined up here and kind of go from there. And like I said, not aiming for it to be exact. The whole point is to practice seeing colors and shapes, blocking out those colors, get a little bit of fun mixing, and to really just kind of play around today. I'm going to do some light little spots here. Perfect. So now that we got that kind of blocked in, let's start with our color. I actually want to start with the clouds first because I feel like it would be easier for me to line up the sand later instead of trying to line up these different colors of the clouds later. So let's start with that. So the first thing I'm going to start with, I'm going to probably go ahead and pull in this dark color here. I think I'm going to try for this beautiful Holbein amethyst color, but then I also kind of see a little bit of blue in it. So I'm going to add a little bit of blue. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off with just a dab. We're going to do a little bit more. We'll put some more Holbein there. I'm going to do just a dab of Payne's Gray with this. Like I said, I'm just experimenting here. We're just here to have some fun. So I have my brush and I'm going to scoop up a little bit of this Payne Gray and mix this up and see. I'm going to need a little bit more if I'm going to darken this up. That might have been too much. And then, so this is getting a little bit closer to the color that I want. Let's see if I can throw in some white with that, as well as just a tad bit more Payne's Gray. I do have some black paint in my painting repertoire, but I don't typically use a lot of black, so you won't find that in my palette a whole lot. Like I said, we're not going for exact. We're going for looking at these colors, these shapes, and just really having fun with this. That's the main takeaway that I want you to get from this, is to just loosen up and have some fun, quick little sketches. So I kind of like this color. We're going to go in here. So it's above this piece, kind of matches here with this one. So I'm just going to go in and start painting. This actually may be a little darker than what I intended for, but that's okay. We'll work with that. We'll lighten it up as we go, kind of thing. So I'm just kind of sketching that in there. I also see some darks over here, so above this. Like I said, we're not looking for perfection, Just get in there, and wherever you see these colors, just add them in. I'm going to go ahead and do this as well. Loose, fun brush strokes. Let's do, this is kind of where some of that comes in as well. We're going to do there. We're also kind of going to do a little bit, whoa, my picture went away. I tried to print my image out for today. However, my printer decided it did not want to do that. And in all honesty, like, I also couldn't get it to really capture the colors as well. So that didn't work out in my favor. All right, and do I see any darker ones? I also kind of see a little bit along here, and I would probably place that about right through here. All right, so I'm going to rinse off my brush. Next thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to take, let me get my paper towels available. Now, because acrylics do dry pretty quick unless you use like the open or a slow drying medium, I'm going to want to try to work with the purple that I already have here. And so I do see some lighter shades of purple in here. So I'm going to go ahead and add those, like add some white to this purple, get that mixed up, and try to pull those into. Using what I got. Use what you got. I also see a little bit of these. I'm going to go ahead and throw this on here too, because I might want to just zoom straight into this color as well. All right, so here we go. Get this all mixed up. Just a little bit lighter. I like that. Dip in the water just a bit. There we go. All right, so then I see more of this along here. I see it as well, touches here, kind of goes off into here a little bit. Like I said, we're not looking for perfection. We're not trying to duplicate this exactly the way that it is. We want to kind of create our own piece from this, and we're really just using this as practice. Just practicing, mixing our colors, getting loose with it, having fun. This is all about having fun while we paint. And we practice. Every time we come to our canvas or our art desk or wherever we are, we should come with an open mind, an open heart, relax, and just have some fun with it. Learn a little bit more about our process, who we are in the midst of that process, all of that good stuff. Okay, and I think I see, I see a little bit right here, and I kind of see a little bit coming into here too. Do I see any over here? I really don't see much over here. So I think I kind of like where this is so far. You know what? I do want to add some here, because I do see it piling up around this spot. And it kind of stretches out. Very nice. Okay, our sky's coming together. Let me clean the brush here. And I'm going to go ahead and go into this blue, this blue-gray color from Liquitex Basics that I'm using, and I'm going to see if I can work in some of this here. This looks to be a little too dark for what I want, but I'm going to go ahead and work that in for the moment and kind of get that squared away where I want it. I'm going to add some of this purple and white to it. And see how that kind of turns out, just a little bit more of a pinky purple. Yeah, it kind of made it. Just kind of testing it out here. See how I feel about it. Okay. Nothing wrong with getting a little loose and playing around with your paints. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add some white to that blue color because that's a little too dark for my taste. Starting to kind of blend in quite a bit there. So I'm going to scoop it up and mix it up here. And don't be afraid to try new things when you paint. Don't be afraid to put something down, and if you don't like it, you can always, always, always paint over it. I think I want the sky to have a little bit more blue. So this blue-gray isn't working quite the way I want it to. Let me find, I know I grabbed another, oh, I just painted my plant. Let's see, the plant pot. No plants were harmed during the production of this video. I thought I grabbed a different blue. I guess I didn't. I'm going to do this light blue violet. I'm going to put a little bit in here, and then I'm going to put some off to the side because I'm willing to mix it up and see what's going to work in this situation. Now this has a prettier kind of blue hue to it. Let's see. I don't know if you can see that subtle difference, but I definitely recognize it. I'm going to go with this real quick though and see what, that's a little strong. So let's do some more white. But I'm going to put it with this color and tone that down and see where we are. That's better. I like that. Kind of let this run into each other. I'm going to clean this brush off, and I am going to go for my smaller brush. It gets really thin through here where I'm going with the sky, and so I want to make sure that I keep that kind of thin and off to the back some. All right, so here we go. And notice how this is a darker blue and it lightens up even more as it goes further down. So as I see that, I want to kind of make a mental note of that and work that into my painting as well. So that sky gets lighter as it moves towards the horizon. Alright, and so about here it already starts to lighten up. So I'm going to take some more white and work that in as well. Now, one thing about holding my paintbrush, I tend to like to hold it back a little bit far to kind of let the strokes be a little looser, not so precise, because I found that if I try to hold mine like here, I'm too tight and I can't quite get it, like I'm overdoing it, I guess, like I'm trying too hard to make it perfect. So I like to hold my paintbrush back a little bit in order to get looser strokes with my brush. And a little bit more white here, lightening it up some more as I come through here. And then I'm going to add even more white as I get closer to this edge over here. I'm going to kind of let that blend in a little bit. Okay. At this point, I probably could switch back to my bigger brush for this bigger space. And I'm gonna stick with this little small one here. I have to keep tapping my screen so it doesn't time out. I don't know how to change that setting. So if you're tech savvy and you know how to stop my screen from timing out on my tablet, leave me a comment and let me know. And if you like this video so far, if you're enjoying the painting process, please leave me a comment, let me know, and I will keep making videos like this for us to share in this experience together. Alright, so I got this part squared away, so now I'm going to kind of move on to these pinks and oranges and kind of get that going, which means I'm also going to move back to a bigger brush. I think I got a little bit there. Double check this one, make sure it's good, because I don't want any color mixing in with that. So I'm going to go ahead and go on to the pinks. I see a lot more pinks and I want to kind of work those in. We are not going to do luminous, that would be a bit too much. I am going to do Compost Rose by Holbein, see how that works out. I'm going to lighten this up quite a bit though. So in fact, I'm going to not just add white, but I'm also going to add this portrait pink with it. Sometimes when I'm painting, what I like to do is allow some of the other colors that I'm using to kind of stay on my brush just enough to tinge the colors. Yeah, I feel like it brings a little more cohesiveness to the piece. And so I know I will. I have a little blob of this purple over here. I'm going to pick up just enough and work it into this pink mixture that I got going on. So it's enough to tinge it just a little bit. And I feel like this pink is quite dominant. So I may even come down here a little bit and try it in with this blue. That tones it down kind of nicely. This is that same blue that I was using for the sky. And I feel like almost there. It's got a hint of yellow in it, so I'm going to throw in just a snash of yellow. Mix that up. And that is definitely more of the color that I'm seeing. It's got a nice kind of orangey pink hue to it. Okay, so let's get started. So I see this kind of darker pinks over here. And this, oh, that might be a little too pink. In fact, though, this looks very good for this down here. So let's see. We're going to keep working it into the sky. I feel like it can work over here. This is fairly dark, so I'm going to work it in over here into the darker part of the sky. We'll lighten some of this up as we go. But knowing this, I may also pull this color down here so that it flows just a little more smoothly. I'm just looking for all these places where I see this a little bit darker of a pink. Looks like it's kind of following along the darker clouds here. Let's see, it is coming out through here a little bit. It's kind of laying a little bit under this one. Like I said, don't be afraid. If you don't like something, you can always go back and change it. Now I did throw in a little bit of that extra pink here. I'm going to come back and do that in this area too, adding a little bit of depth to this because I like it. I think it adds a nice little touch to that. So, and I see a lot of the darker stuff up here as well. I'm going to go back to my color. I see some off in there as well as here. Let's see, what else do I see? I do see a little bit off in here. Remember, stay loose, have fun. This isn't a competition. You're not being graded on this. This is, and if you are being graded on this, if you're grading yourself on this, because I'm not grading you, if you're grading yourself on this, then let it be the measure of how fun did you have. How much fun did you have? How loose were you able to get? Did you learn something new? Was it a new experience? Just let it be fun. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece. Like, just allow yourself to loosen up and just have a good time with it. Like I said, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. It's fun. We got this. All right, I am gonna go ahead and work this same color down here because I'm really feeling drawn to this. And since this isn't like right there at that line, I'm more inclined to go ahead and get that done. So I kind of see this dark value going up here and like kind of starting to angle over. And one thing that we're going to want to do with this bottom is we're going to want to add some color, like this flat kind of color that it's got going on. That's okay, but we're going to add some more to this and make it a little like more interesting with the colors. So in fact, we might just take a dab of purple, darken this up, and kind of add some now. So I kind of see this little pattern kind of going on down here. Very light purple kind of added to it. And then we'll lighten this up as it goes, but I kind of see, I'm kind of seeing this as that color as well. Get a little more to my brush. Get it just a little bit wet. Let it help smooth that out some. Perfect. There we go. I love it. I hope you do too so far. All right, let's clean our brushes. Now we're gonna start working in these orange colors. This really, really orange color. And since I've already got that glob of darker pink mixed up, I'm gonna kind of stick with that and we're gonna work on that one. So I'm gonna throw in some yellow over here. Not sure if you can see my paint palette over here, but I'm working it. I know you are too. So I'm gonna pick up some of this pink and I'm gonna start working it in because I want an orange. I want a beautiful orange, but I also, like I said, I want that cohesiveness that shows it. Now this one, this lighter color that has appeared, that's really pretty. I'm gonna go ahead and start kind of smudging some of that in. It's not as light as it looks on my palette, but we're gonna start working with that. And I feel like this might be as dark as I want it to actually go as far as that orange goes. You see how it has these really dark pieces here. So what we're trying to accomplish here is we're trying to train our eyes to look for colors and shapes. The shapes that the colors make, where it leads us. We're trying to see all of that. So I want to kind of keep these darker ones close to the edge over here, the darker oranges, closer to this edge, as well as, whew, did you sense my fear for a second when that turned dark? We want to kind of keep it closer to this edge and then up at the top a little bit. So I see a big chunk of it up here, even coming down into here. I'm going to let it kind of fade into this as well, and out over into this. Not so much into here. I feel like there's some more colors that will come into there. Okay. Also see some that flowed in right about here and right about here. And we're just going to touch some of these spots. Just touch them up. Just touch them up. Let it kind of guide you where you think it should be. All right, so now I am gonna kind of put some here, along here. Okay. All right, and now I'm gonna add more of that yellow into that mix because I didn't let it mix completely, but I'm gonna go ahead and add a dash of white. I'm going to put my white off to the side, pick up my color that I've made, and carry that over to my white and let that lighten it up. So this is a really pretty color that's coming through here. It's just that same color, just lightened up. And so here we go. We're going to add this into it as well. And I am kind of squiggling along with my brush, making like little circles and stuff like that to kind of create some texture with my paint, instead of just like, ooh, swipe here and swipe there and let it be really flat. Like, I'm trying to get in some nice little shapes with this. I'm lightening a lot of this up over here. Little touches here and there. Don't be afraid to let some stuff shine through, because as you can see, like, that happens with the clouds too. I'll throw in some stuff to break up this one a little bit. Now, if you aren't particularly fond, I know some people, everybody has a preference. There's nothing wrong with that. If you aren't particularly fond of how busy our sky is here, you can use a bigger brush with less like colors, and you can make it less busy. I, for one, liked how kind of busy the sky is, and I kind of wanted to make it a little busier for me. So, because I love the colors. Like, I want a sky that you look at and you're just like, whoa, what's happening? And so, plus I want it to be a very different feel than our little sand dune or sand hill, whatever we got going on down here. What I did with pixels, in case you're wondering, I am going to take this color you see and put it right into here, because I feel like this is almost that color. And like I said, don't be afraid to work in like top colors into the rest of your piece, like just to kind of help it have a little more texture and blend and feel to it. I'm going to work some of these colors into here, as well as into here. I see kind of this light moving across here some. Okay, and so I think that looks good. Now we're going to work in these yellows. So I'm going to clean my brush just a little. I'm also going to get my smaller brush. I have some yellow still on my palette, so I'm going to use what I got. All right, and here we're going in. So once again, it lightens up here towards the edge, so I'm going to want to keep that in mind, that it does get a little bit, whoa, that it does get a little bit lighter. Throw my brush around a little bit, see what fun surprises I get. Just kidding. And so I want to find these spots, these moments where this light shines through, and kind of not exactly recreate them, but bring them out, because I'm like this little golden hue here, like I like that, and so I want to bring out that light source as well. There we go. And so it does have this rim around it, so I'm going to paint I'm going to let that outline go ahead and be added in so that I know where to put that rim, or know where to put that light source, like that light just reflecting off of the cloud there. It's not really a light source, but it's reflecting, so we're going to go ahead and throw that in there. And then I also see some more yellow in here. Definitely see some more yellow in here. So I'm going to add this into this area. It looks like I may need to go ahead and put some more yellow on my palette. We're going to throw this in here. I definitely see quite a bit of yellow coming in through here, so I'm going to work this in anywhere I can get it. Let it kind of float on down like it does. And we'll go back with the lighter yellow and add some highlights to it. I hope you're still with me on this. I hope you're having fun. Remember, even though we're kind of getting to smaller sections, stay loose, stay open to possibilities, open to ideas. You might have a aha moment. It's also a good idea occasionally to kind of step back from your painting and see if you see any spots you want to add anything to. Also see some kind of rolling in over here. I love this. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add in that white. But what I need to do is I need to go ahead and do a drop of yellow back on my palette. We're going to lighten this up even more. And we're going to go from here. Come back to me, painting. All right. Now this isn't, I can already tell this isn't going to be as light as I want it to be, but I'm going to go ahead and work with this because not every spot of that yellow is like super reflective bright. So I'm going to go ahead and add these lighter values into here, and that way, like right here, because this spot right here, this is white, so I know that we know that it's kind of more like a yellow, but it's going to be white in the painting to get that brightness. And so we're going to lighten up some of these areas because it would be easier to let that white pop if we have a lighter color underneath it versus this really dark color that kind of tones it down. Let's see, oh, I do want to add some here. And even off in here, I kind of want to put some there. Okay, and you know, I'm kind of feeling it right here as well. Like I said, sometimes it's good to kind of step back and see what everything's looking like. See what you need to do, what you can do, and then just kind of trust yourself. Trust your gut, trust your instincts, you know, like you might not be, you know, a trained painter, but trust your instincts. You'll know when something doesn't feel right. You'll know when something doesn't look quite right, and then see if you can kind of play around and figure that out. Sometimes I surprise myself, like I don't think I know how to do something, and then I manage to work it out and figure it out. And that's a good way to come to your paintings as well, is to kind of allow yourself to be surprised at what you can achieve, what you can do. And then be thankful. Be grateful that you like gave it your best shot, you know, that you even came to the canvas. Some people get so afraid that they never even make it to the canvas. You know, they never pull out their paints. They're waiting until they have an idea. They're waiting until it's perfect, or they learn how to do X, Y, and Z. And instead, sometimes it's better just to get started. Just get started. Just get started and get painting and have fun and loosen up. And sometimes ideas will come to you. Sometimes they're just not ready yet, but keep going. Don't give up. All right, I'm working in a lot more of this yellow. I really like this yellow. And so I'm just kind of adding some more in. Come back. Like I said, we're not trying to reproduce exactly this painting, or this picture I should say. We are putting our own style into it, and we're learning a new skill in the process, that color blocking and looking for colors and shapes. And we're not looking at this thinking, oh, this has got to look like a sky perfectly and all that. We are playing around with it. We are learning to have fun and just kind of work our way around our painting. New colors. I see a spot here that I want to add just a touch. There we go. I'm loving how this is looking. Now what I want to do is I'm going to rinse this off. I'm going to throw in that white because I feel like it's time for that white. All right, here we go. What did I do with it? There it is. Matter of fact, I'm going to hold off. I'm going to let this dry just a second. We're going to go ahead and work on this because, yeah, let's go ahead and work on the bottom. All right, so I said I wanted to kind of use that portrait pink. I think I'm going to add it to this orange mixture that I have over here. And I'm going to go ahead and take my flat brush and start smearing it around. This looks a little darker than what I want. We'll test it out. Nothing wrong with testing it out. Looks different on my palette. Yep, that's a little darker than what I want, but we're going to go ahead and work with some of it. Get those lines coming in. And see if it comes up a little bit, that's okay. We're not trying to hide stuff, like hide the clouds now behind the bottom, because we already got the clouds done. So very nice. All right, and so this is what I'm talking about. So we don't want it this solid color. We want to just kind of add add some more to it kind of thing. So I'm gonna add some more colors to it. So we don't want it just this flat mass of color. We want some other colors in on it. Maybe even some colors that really aren't there in the picture, like this. We know it's darker. That doesn't mean that there has to just be browns in it. We can add some of this purple into it, just like I did there. I kind of like it. We can add pinks into our sand. Nobody can tell you what your sand has to look like. You get to decide that. So if you want your sand to not be brown, you don't have to let it be brown. So I'm trying to add in, I'm adding in a little bit of yellow for highlights. So where the sun hits this as it's kind of going down, you see these moments, these little details pop up. And I'm going to kind of make a little bit of reference down here with it. I see this shape really draws my eye, so I'm going to try to replicate that a little bit. Like I said, I'm not aiming for perfection here, but I like that shape and I want to keep that shape somewhat. And then it kind of goes down. I think it's a little bit choppy over here. I'm going to add just a smidgen of this right here too. So a little bit darker shades here. Kind of flatten it out some. Make it look like there's little heels rolling along here. Kind of darken this a little bit because this is sloping. All right, I'm very pleased with this. I love the color of it. Like I said, if you don't like how busy everything is, use a bigger brush, use less color if you want to. There's many things that you can do, but I personally love how busy and moving everything is. And so now I'm going to get ready to add my white right here. And I feel like whenever, come back to me. I feel like whenever we take this tape off, that crisp white edge, I think you're going to love it. Like I said, you should also be very proud of yourself for just getting out your paints and painting today. And I appreciate you painting with me. All right, so I'm adding in these touches of white. I'm also going to add in little bits and pieces along here. Little touches here and there, just allowing that light to reflect off of it. I'm going to do a little bit brighter white here. I also want to kind of add a little bit of white into this. So I know it has a little bit of yellow, but if you look, like it's kind of got this nice little thing going on down here that indicates like it's a little hazy. And I want to throw that in too. I'm also going to throw in some white along here. And I am going to smooth this out just a tad. I'm smoothing these out. Let's see, I want to add a little bit more white here. All right, and let's see, adding in a little bit here, taking away some of the edges of the blue. There we go. And then I think I do want to add, just smudge it a little bit into here. So I'm not really going to focus on turning this white like the rest of it, but allowing that light to kind of be a little bit there. That lighter color. All right. See, one more spot. Like I said, take a step back. See how you feel about it. Now at this point, if you want to add the little guy, you can add the little guy. I think I'm good without him. No man's in my plans. Okay. All right, so let me get this stuff out of the way, and we're going to go ahead and pick this painting up. All right, so fingers crossed, let's do this. Nice and slow, easy does it. Very good. Ball that off to the side. What? All right. Careful, careful. It stuck to me. Let's peel this off slowly but surely. Don't rush this part. Take it slow. I have heard that if you use like a hair dryer, that can help loosen up the stickiness. I don't have time for that, y'all. I'm too lazy to use the hair dryer. I do own one. I never use it. Well, I take that back. I use it occasionally for my kids' hair. I like to dry their hair, but that's it. Their hair dries so quick. Not like mine. You see it's kind of catching over there at that edge. And here we go. And then last piece. We made it, y'all. Look at this. All right, so here is our desert sky. I'm sure your pieces look fabulous. I would love to see them. Send them to me on my Instagram. And here's our piece, our final piece here. I think that sky looks amazing. I think the land looks awesome. I'm so proud of this. I hope you're proud of your piece too. And like I said, I'm very proud of you for joining me today. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you had fun. Bye.